Bigfoot is an urban legend that— Alright, cut this shit. We're not talking about Bigfoot for real. That would be ridiculous. You thought this would be a serious video of me talking about Bigfoot movies? Well,
sorry to disappoint you boys.
This video is what us professionals call taking the piss. Instead of deep diving into Bigfoot's large filmography, we're just gonna watch 4 low budget movies that I've seen, and make sure to stay tuned for a surprise at the end of the video. Tubi is quickly becoming one of my favorite streaming services. You can literally find shit like Killer Baby Mama right next to fucking Corpse Bride. Legitimately beautiful. What a flourishing ecosystem. That being said, all 4 of these movies can be found on Tubi, so if you want to, you can watch them all there for the low price of nothing, and I highly encourage you all to. Anyway, without further ado, let's start with Bigfoot or Bust is a movie directed by Wynorski, and when I tell you his filmography, you'll understand why he would be the exact kind of person to make a movie called Bigfoot or Bust.
Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us.
He's basically the go-to guy when you want to make a softcore adult movie, and this is no exception. The movie starts with 2 siblings hunting for Bigfoot in the forest. Automatically, their relationship is really odd because they're weirdly incestuous. I mean, the sister says she wants to kiss the brother, and he replies with, "That would be really weird because we're siblings," and then she's like,
"Oops, keep forgetting."
Anyway, they lose Bigfoot, and then the sister's like, "I'm ready for my close-up," and starts pseudo-flashing the camera, and I just—
Seriously, new cartoon crush unlocked!
Shit, Logan Paul's in this movie? Abort, abort, abort! Oh wait, never mind, guys. It was Paul Logan. False alarm.
Sorry, folks. False alarm.
After the credits, we see one of our main heroines named Penny.
Seriously, new cartoon crush unlocked!
Out on Bigfoot patrol. He sneaks behind her, scares her, makes a sans pose from Deltarune, and it's revealed to all be a dream. Immediately after, she receives a call from fellow protagonist, Dr. Dawn.
Seriously, new cartoon crush unlocked!
One boob reaction shot later, an unnecessary story moment later, something dead dad, and a half-naked gear-up sequence lead us to meeting the team. The team consists of 4 scantily clad women.
Seriously, new cartoon crush unlocked!
Along with the lady from the unnecessary story scene from earlier. Her name is Jessie, by the way. Now, you might be wondering why these women are dressed so liberally, and that's because according to the lore of this movie, Bigfoot is just a really thirsty guy. So when he sees women with little to no clothes on, he just can't help but get a closer look. Oh, Bigfoot, you sly dog. After this scene, the entire cast do interviews about wanting to find Bigfoot, and it's mostly pretty superfluous stuff, except for this.
Hi, I'm Wally, and I am a lean, mean killing machine.
Lean?
And they call these horses
My horses.
"We listen and we don't judge." I really like this one character. Her name is Tilly, but she was directed to pull out her sword every 2 seconds, and it leads to her awkwardly putting it back into the sheath every time. But she has to. How else is she gonna show off her
Sword skills.
So this is where the story gets a little weird. These 3 other scantily dressed women show up, and they're like time travelers who came back to 2022 in order to collect Bigfoot shit with the goal of using it to make medicine or something. The sister from the beginning is actually a bad guy and tries to kill Jessie by pushing her down a hill. I mean, you could have just shot her, but I get it. That's not fair. There would be no dignity, no honor. Jessie gets found by the Bigfoot Brigade, and it leads to a very funny thing about this movie. I doubt these actors were given like an actual script, and if they were, I doubt they were directed on like when to talk, because there are a lot of scenes in this movie where this happens.
Off the bridge? Was it stinky?
I think
oh my
so.
God, you're so lucky to be alive.
I know.
I know. I'm amazed.
3 foot as I got thrown off.
The team decide to use Penny and Dr. Dawn as bait, so they dress up in leopard print, which they already had on them, I guess, and they try to call for Bigfoot. This leads to them calling for him in the best way possible.
Okay. No, you need to be louder than that, Penny, like this. Okay, let me try. Oh, no, like this one. Okay.
Wait, I can do this too. Here you go, Mr. Wynorski.
Okay. No, you need to be louder than that, Penny, like this. Okay, let me try.
Please hire me for the next one, Mr. Wynorski. I love your work. They find a piece of fur on the ground and believe it to be Bigfoot, which leads to them talking over each other again. They find a random trampoline in the woods and decide to jump on it because, lest we forget, Bigfoot is a massive pervert in this movie. And it's all over my screen. I'm not saying that shit. What the fuck? After this scene, the three time travelers decide to do some baiting of their own and dance seductively for Bigfoot. P.S. There's a really funny reaction clip at 36 minutes and 18 seconds. Don't say this part out loud. Oh, shit. Well, I need to show you it now, I guess.
Because you might not wake up.
After that, Jesse and Dr. Dawn split up, which leads to Dr. Dawn running into the three time travelers.
I'm a scientist. This is fascinating. What are you going to do with it?
Doesn't matter what you think, because we have the big guns.
Oh, yeah? Well, look at these guns.
And they zap her with a memory wiping device. Very important scene. The group meet back up and set off to find Jesse, but they give up and stay in a house where Jesse just happens to show up.
That was easy.
They use the same reaction clip 4 times.
Wait, that's nothing. He actually physically tried to take my bra.
He's a pervert, first and foremost. Just saying.
Guys, listen. He's not just after me. He's about a block away.
And honestly, I'm gonna follow suit. This shit is great. Jesse leaves the group again.
Jesse's disappeared again.
That motherfucker, I can't believe it!
Bring her to me.
They leave to find her, which leads to a Bigfoot musical number?
I'm not the beast you think I am. Been hunted down since time began.
This shit is cinema. Best movie ever made. He comes across a television and watches the Dr. Dawn show, falling for her.
Nailed it.
That's my line.
The gang find Jessie and she sings a song.
Oh, it's Bigfoot or bust. We're gonna get you with lust. No turning back, it's a must.
I mean, it's no Bigfoot song, but Wicked has been awfully quiet since this shit dropped. It's kind of unimportant, but the 3 time travelers leave because they found a piece of Bigfoot shit, and the Sasquatch squad find a red carpet and a cabin with Bigfoot in it. They chase him and trip a motion sensor, which alerts the 2 siblings from the beginning, and they surround Bigfoot. He begs for his life, and the Grassman group let him go. I actually really like this ending. It's weirdly sweet. I felt something when I watched it. It's been too long since I've played a funny clip. This one.
Go back in time.
I need it!
This movie is so ridiculous, but in a somewhat charming way. The amount of self-referential humor and sequences of singing and just camaraderie between the girls made it really hard to dislike this movie. There is a valid argument that it objectifies women a lot, but this isn't a serious review, it's more jokey, so I really don't want to talk about that and instead focus on the insanity that is this movie. On that topic, this movie is insane with so many funny moments that it was really hard for me to fit them all in here. I mean, I didn't even talk about how Momo showed up for one scene.
Hey y'all, what's good, what's happening? It's your girl Monique, aka Momo.
That weird internet monster that was like everywhere in 2020. An absurd movie where everyone seems to be having a lot of fun. I give Bigfoot or Bust a solid Bigfoot song out of 10. Alright, all the straight guys and lesbian women had their fun. It's time for us gay guys and straight women to have ours. Bigfoot vs. D.B. Cooper is a film made by director David Duchovny, which has been well versed in the art of smut content.
I don't want to be alive anymore!
The only other thing about this movie is that it has Eric Roberts in it? You mean the guy who played Salvatore Maroni in The Dark Knight? What kind of blackmail does the Cocteau have on this guy to get him to work for him? The first 11 minutes of this movie are just clips of a shirtless guy in skinny jorts named Bernie and Bigfoot walking through the woods, intercut with title cards. Once that's over, we cut to the airport where D.B. Cooper starts suiting up for his big heist, and it cuts back to Bernie meeting a group of shirtless guys at a house. Their names aren't really that important because they don't really do much, but their names are Johnny, Noel, Chuck, Lou, and Morgan.
Seriously, new cartoon crush unlocked.
This looked just like Top Gun Maverick. These movies are on the exact same level. Just kidding, there's a clear winner here in terms of quality. We cut back to D.B. Cooper and he enacts his plan. He tells the stewardess of the house in his sunglasses that he has a bomb after he gives her a note, which seems a bit redundant, but I've never hijacked a plane, so I guess I wouldn't know. Me when there's a bomb on the plane. Another 5 minutes of this movie are devoted to Johnny and Lou running through the woods and hearing Bigfoot. Oh look, it's a sheep. The two guys get back to the house and immediately forgot that they heard a noise. This is followed by a 13-minute long sequence of all 5 guys walking up to a mirror and posing with their rifles.
What are you gonna do, suck me to death?
All of these guys leave except for Morgan, who decides to take a very sensual shower. I'm not gonna show this bit because I think it's a little bit much for YouTube, but the important part is that he gets killed by Bigfoot. No, he was hot! The guys continue hunting for birds, but Chuck decides he's had enough and goes back to the house. He searches the house for Morgan and finds him dead in the bathroom.
You're as beautiful as the day I lost you.
He tries to get away, but... No! All my favorite characters are dying. At least Johnny is alive. Damn it! Can't have shit in Bigfoot vs. D.B. Cooperville! Lou goes inside after hearing Johnny get murked and sees Morgan's body, which means that yes, we do need to see it again.
You're as beautiful as the day I lost you.
Then Lou dies. Oh, I'm really sad. No, really, I'm heartbroken. Look how sad I am.
Thank you guys all for coming. Brent was the third best son any parent could ever ask for. I remember when he used to wet the bed. It seems like it was just yesterday.
Because it was yesterday.
On a side note, this portion of the movie makes it very obvious that they refuse to put Bigfoot and the actors in the same spot because the guy in the Bigfoot costume was presumably too short compared to the actors, so they had to make sure he never shared the screen with them. No offense, but all I'm gonna say is, Bigfoot or Bust never had this problem. Come on guys, get your shit together. D.B. Cooper actually makes his entrance into the main story and meets Bernie. They run into Bigfoot and Bernie tries to shoot him, but he gets away. Then it's time for the ultimate battle between D.B. Cooper and Bigfoot. This is gonna be epic and, oh, it's over.
The battle lasts for 58 seconds, and you know what? I think it should have been shorter. We really needed to give more time to shirtless guys walking in the woods and posing with guns in front of mirrors. Cooper wins, but Bigfoot infects him with Bigfoot-itis, slowly turning Cooper into another Bigfoot. Bernie runs away and the movie ends. Bigfoot vs. DB Cooper is not as good as Bigfoot or Bust, but it's more of a slow burn kind of movie where the laughs come less from actual jokes in the movie and more from the sheer amount of time that's not spent progressing the plot. There is a valid argument to be made about this movie objectifying men, but this isn't a serious review, so respectfully, it doesn't matter here. That being said, it was really funny. I rated a
B, what are you gonna do, suck me to death?
out of 10. Bigfoot vs. the Illuminati was directed by BC14, who ended up making a series of these movies with the chronological order being this one, Bigfoot vs. the Megalodon, Bigfoot vs. Krampus, Bigfoot Goes to Hell, and Bigfoot vs. the Megalodon 2. I would talk about all 5 of these movies in this video, but the script is already 2,462 words long, and honestly, this movie isn't really that funny, so I doubt the rest are any better. You'll get what I mean when we get into it. Right off the bat, there's a clear difference between this movie and the others. It's animated. It doesn't look as bad as it could have, but it also doesn't look good. The framing for these shots never quite look right, and the movements are very stiff, and damn it, I'm slipping into serious review mode again. Fuck it, just play this clip again.
Seriously, new cartoon crush unlocked?
This movie begins in the year 2044, where AI drains the world of all natural resources, forcing a fraction of humanity into space. This sect of humanity then encounter a
bloodthirsty reptilian Illuminati army
called the Archon, and plot twist, they're evil. The funny part about these Archons is that they're headed by actual dead people that were reincarnated as reptilian aliens. One such character is Aleister Crowley, who was a notorious member of the English occult and was expelled from Italy for murder. What an obscure person to use! There's not much to talk about for the beginning of this movie. There's a guy in a ship and it gets exploded. This alien talks to a tomb of Anubis, and finally we get to Crowley's alien talking to another alien about the human invasion along with blowjobs.
I'm Aleister Crowley, and I have never grown out of that infantile belief that the universe was made for me to suck. Speaking of, if the date on this screen is correct, I haven't had a blowjob in 3,000 years. And who's going to suck my dick with me looking like this?
Ooh, feisty little thing.
I'm gonna be completely for real. The language in this movie is somehow more explicit than Bigfoot or Bust and Bigfoot vs. DB Cooper, and that fact is kind of crazy.
I'd prefer if you tweak my nipples while you use that word, Rathbean.
I'm also just realizing this now, but Crowley kind of sounds like the Green Goblin from the Spectacular Spider-Man.
So the whole wanting to destroy you and take over your empire thing wasn't clear?
You know what that means. I can do this.
Oh, where are my manners? Here you come to terrorize the tombster, and I don't even say thank you. My only excuse is that you're also holding innocent people hostage. It's confusing to my poor spider brain.
I'd prefer if you tweak my nipples while you use that word, Rathbean.
The humans have manpower of their own in the form of Van Helsing, a clone of the original Van Helsing who has decided to fight against the Archon.
Call me VH.
Shortly after, it's revealed that the Archon have a secret weapon on their ship, a bomb that could destroy 2/3 of the galaxy.
Appears to be a 60 megaton kinetic space bomb. If detonated, it could wipe out 2/3 of our galaxy.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Sir, I don't believe we've been introduced.
This is Van Helsing.
He said his preferred name was VH, dickhead. I'm gonna be honest, there's not a lot of fun to be had talking about this movie because a lot of it is just Gary's mod character standing and talking. One of the humans talks about a new technology that would allow them to mind control their soldiers, and he talks about their frontal lobes and shit.
I think I can go in through the nasal cavity to puppeteer the frontal lobe.
FNAF mentioned Spotted.
And after number 8 is that Toy Freddy, well, you know, he's kinda, fat. I mean, come on, you know, what can I say? He's compared to the other animatronics on the show stage. You know, rounder, more big bones, you know, made a little bit too much pizza. It's on the flight of 87! You gotta keep it anyway.
This person's also really horny.
Have you given any more consideration to my sex slave idea? Sex, is that all you think about? What's wrong with the cadavers you've been using? They're good for nothing else. You don't even have sexual organs. You're the intact braid of my best pupil, who was blown to bits by a laser fire strike, transplanted into an automaton body to further assist me. Apparently, I was quite repressed in my human form, Doctor. Obviously. Keep your mind on the task at hand for now. Once I can present a successful subject to aid the war effort, we'll find you a suitable release. Thank you.
Everyone's horny in space, I guess. Why don't they just put down their guns and watch Bigfooter bust together? There we go. Universal peace. Oh, why do I fix everything I touch? There's this scene of these aliens praying to an invisible god who is apparently everything.
I am he, the truth. I am he who hates the stars. I am he that lightningeth and thundereth. I am he whose mouth flameth. I am he, the begetter and manifester unto the light. I am
Shadow the Hedgehog.
Can you see all of me? Walk into my mystery.
VH runs into an exterminator robot and they talk shit to each other.
Why don't you come into my cell so I can render your swiny flesh from the brittle porous bone and paint a masterpiece on my wall with your blood?
Vivid imagination you have there.
I'm scared, VH. You might want to leave because this guy's kinda scary. Where the fuck is Bigfoot, dude? This shit's pissing me off. Oh, there he is.
Whoa, buddy. I'm no camper. It's me, Van Helsing.
Van Helsing? Which one?
Oh no. Did they? I don't know if this is worse or better. I thought they got a black person to voice Bigfoot, which is bad, but it seems they got someone who wasn't black and made him do a black scent. We need Garnet's words more than ever.
Hey now.
It's Garnet from Steven Universe!
Kids, don't be racist.
That's it. I'm skipping to the end of this shit. Tell me how I'm only 25 minutes into this movie. What the fuck?
You can put me in a cell, within 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 a cell.
I get it!
The humans win and put the exterminator into a cell. Everything was happily ever after.
That's all, folks.
Bigfoot versus the Illuminati is clearly the worst of the movies so far, as it really has little to no value comedically or on an actual film level. Unlike the other two movies, I wouldn't even recommend this one ironically. It's just boring and bad and slightly racist. I give Bigfoot versus the Illuminati 1
cell, within a cell, within a cell,
out of
within
10.
A cell, within a cell, within a cell, within a cell. Within a...
Okay, this is a toss-up. I only wanted to do 4 movies because 3,376 words, holy shit balls. So it's really between Feet of Death and Bigfoot in Ohio. Eeny, meeny, miny. Get the fuck out of here, Bigfoot in Ohio. The adults are speaking. Feet of Death was directed by James Chick, who had previously directed a Batman fan film.
the hell are you?
I'm the goddamn Batman. Tell Mickey I'm coming for him next.
Peak fucking cinema. This makes me very excited to see this movie. I can't wait. This movie starts with a girl walking through the forest and finding the perfect spot to take a selfie. She falls and stumbles on a dead body. Give me 1 second. Please hire me, Mr. Wynorski. It used to be a joke, but I'm dead serious now. The movie then does a flashback through a YouTube video that now dead man Chris Dixon uploaded about going to Swift Lake and looking for paranormal activity. It then cuts to a scene between this guy and this older guy named Al. I forgot his name, so I'm just gonna call him
Sunshine.
Sunshine's wife, Amy, died due to a bear attack, and Al has been helping him move on by pushing him to do his job.
Sunshine
reluctantly agrees, and Al leaves making a joke before he goes.
Hey Jason, did you hear about the guy who got hit in the head with a can of soda? He was lucky it was a soft drink.
That actually is pretty funny.
We cut back to Chris interviewing a couple of locals about animal attacks in the area, and it goes about as well as you'd expect.
So, can you tell me a little bit about the animal attacks that have happened in recent past?
Sir, I thought that you wanted to talk about Bigfoot.
I do. Have you heard the theory that those two are connected?
Oh. Okay, I just don't really have much information.
He ventures out into the woods and continues filming. This also goes about as well as you'd expect.
Kinds of feeding on his I'm really freaking myself out.
We cut to
Sunshine
as he combs through the photos of the crime scene. He finds something. I can't tell exactly what it is, but whatever, I guess. He goes to investigate and finds a light that was owned by Chris, which also seems like a nothing find, but the movie seems to think it's really important, so I guess it is. He gets a call to the police station, and it's revealed that the girl from the beginning was actually a stalker of Chris and was following him for months, so they begin to question her again.
Well, hot damn. That's your name, isn't it?
Yeah,
What's that, honey? This ear don't hear so good. You speak up just a titch.
I said yes. That's my name.
Interesting. Isn't that just a mighty fine coincidence that at the very same time a restraining order is being filed against you for following Chris Dixon around the country? You know, writing him love letters, threatening to kill yourself if he doesn't respond, telling him he's a beast for treating you the way he does. And then, bam!
Obviously, we know it wasn't some random girl, it was Bigfoot, so let's skip to the part where they find that out. They agree that it isn't the girl, and so they talk to some guy that Chris interviewed earlier in the film. Honestly, while this movie is better than Bigfoot versus the Illuminati, it isn't as fun as the other two, and this video is going a little longer than I bargained for, so let's skip ahead to the end. So apparently the guy that
Sunshine,
the cop talked to had actually been working for Bigfoot, and he tries to kill
Sunshine.
This also comes with the reveal that there are multiple Bigfoots, which is, I mean, I guess interesting, but they don't really do much with it.
Such wasted potential.
Sunshine breaks free and fights the guy, but gets killed by Bigfoot.
Thank you guys all for coming. Brent was the third best son any parent could ever ask for. I remember when he used to wet the bed. It seems like it was just yesterday.
Because it was yesterday.
That was Feet of Death, and while it might have been the most technically competent of the four, it honestly just lacks the best thing that made the movies I liked in this video, like, good. It wasn't very funny. I felt very bored while watching this movie, and I feel like others will probably feel the same way. I give Feet of Death a
Sunshine
out of 10. Honestly, none of these movies have been anywhere near the fun of Bigfoot or Bust, and that really is a shame. I wonder what filming that movie was like. Well, I know just who to ask. This part of the video is comprised of the edited down interviews that I had with Bigfoot or Bust stars Lisa London, Becky LeBeau, Antonia Dorian, and director Jim Wynorski. They were all recorded during January of this year, and without further ado, here they are. So, could you please tell me your name and the character you play in Bigfoot or Bust?
Sure, Lisa London, and I play Rusty Reddy.
Yeah, my name is Becky LeBeau, and I played Penny Blossom.
My name is Antonia Dorian, and I played Space Girl 2.
Yeah, I'm Jim Wynorski, and I wrote, directed, produced, and did everything I could on Bigfoot or Bust.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
It wasn't. It was a lot of fun.
All right. So the first question I wanted to ask is, what was the audition process like for Bigfoot or Bust?
Well, at this point in my career, I rarely auditioned for anything that's a lower budget film. And Jim Wynorski, who is an iconic movie director, producer, he started off as a young person with Roger Corman. He was making a movie. He was directing a movie for one of my best girlfriends, Becky LeBeau, and her husband. They were producing a film that they came up with this concept, and Becky and Jim had worked together quite a bit. And Becky and I had modeled together a million times, done a bunch of music videos together, but we had never done a movie together. And she asked me if I would be willing to play a little part, because it was basically already pretty much cast, and she goes, but at least we could work together, and Jim Wynorski would, really love to have you on board. She was so shocked that Jim and I had never met or worked together up to that point. And so anyway, it started with me playing supposedly a little role in it, and then I became one of the stars as we went along, much to my absolute
called people I knew.
Oh, awesome. So you already had worked with a lot of these people?
Yeah.
All right. And so my first question here is, what was it like when you got the call to do Bigfoot or Bust?
Well, first of all, we did it right pretty much towards the end of the pandemic. And I've worked with this director on many films, so we're friends. And then my other girlfriend that played, I forgot her character's name, Becky LeBeau. She mentioned the project that they were working on and asked if I wanted to be in it. And I said yes. And I remember I had they only gave me I think I had 2 weeks to lose weight because I gained so much weight during the pandemic from eating and being bored and not doing anything. So I was the heaviest ever in that movie. I'm much thinner now, but oh god, I was the heaviest in that movie. But anyways, that's what.
All right.
So you were a producer on the movie as well, right?
Yes, me and Jim Wynorski.
Yeah, so were you always going to be acting in the film, or did that just kind of happen?
No. It was understood that it was, I was to be producing and starring in it also. One of the stars.
Ah, awesome. So were you part of the casting process?
Yeah, I mean, mostly I was part of the casting process, and a couple of my friends were in there, like Antonia Dorian. I think I talked to her last night. I think she said you talked with her, right?
Yes, I did.
Spoke with Antonia, yeah. Antonia, and then, Lisa London also was part of my casting.
Mm-hmm.
And then most of the other ladies were Jim Wynorski's contacts from his stable of actresses. Joy.
So you knew co-star Becky LeBeau before the movie?
Not in a film, no. It was just, we did tons of modeling jobs together and some music videos together. And we also sang together, because I had a major record deal in the 80s called the Pinups. It was as huge and famous as you could get everywhere, but in Europe and in Asia, everyone still knows about us, and so does the music industry. But it was one of those 15 minutes of fame here, because it was a production deal first. It was actually German producers. We got to live and work in Germany a lot, but we were super famous in America too. But the deal that they offered us after the initial success was so bad that it kind of fell apart. And acting has always been my main thing. I'm definitely an actress who can sing, not the other way around.
So how was the general experience of filming for Bigfoot or Bust like?
It was an absolute blast. Number one, we did something very experimentary that I think is an absolute success. There was no script. Jim would basically set up the scenes and tell us what he wanted out of us and give us a few key words, and it was the amazing chemistry between all of the stars of the movie and the crew that was just so right with us, and it was amazing, because it was basically an entirely improvised script, and yet the plot and the story, I think, does come through, along with a lot of laughs and unexpected, crazy, wild moments. It was very physical. Wow. There were a lot of stunts done, and we did all of our own. And we were shooting in rugged terrain and freezing cold and then hot. And it was just really, really a wonderful, exciting experience.
Wow. So there was no script? That's insane.
No script, I know. And there's very few feature films that ever make it to actually coming out and getting distributed, that they were a true experiment. And it was Jim's brilliant direction and everyone's chemistry and professionalism, and just a really great little crew that we had too.
Wow, that's amazing.
Well, it was really fun. We were on location, and it was, for the most part, unscripted. So we just had fun with it and whatever came to our minds, and then somehow it sort of developed day by day, and the story developed, and it was put together in editing, and it all worked, and just kind of like a fun romp.
Yeah.
It's not to be taken seriously, of course.
So
I'm sorry.
No worries. So you mentioned there was no script. Was there like a set basic framework for the story, or was it like?
Yeah, there was some basic framework that Jim came up with. I mean, of course, but it was just kind of
individual scenes where.
Ad-lib.
Yeah. Okay.
For the most part, there were some lines that we had prepared, and that made it more fun to shoot, because you just never know what's happening.
Yeah. No, I can imagine it was a fun shoot because you mentioned already being friends with a lot of the cast as well, right?
Yeah, well, not just the two girls that I was responsible for casting, but I knew everyone, except I didn't know Tawny McClure. I've never met her, and I think that was the only. Oh, and I didn't know Rocky DeMarco either. That was the first time I met her. So everyone else I was friends with, and like Gail, I've known Gail since 1986 or I don't know, 88 or like a really long time.
A lot, because the guy that was dressed up as Bigfoot, it was funny. It's pretty stupid. But, I mean, I don't know. It's a funny movie. I think it's kind of stupid, actually. I don't know. But it's cute.
Yeah. I heard that. I heard that you guys had no script.
Nope. Jim just told us what to say. He made everything up. He's really good at that way. Very quick to think of what for us to say. I had no script. Nope.
So it was just a lot of improv.
There was some improv, but he would let us know he would tell us what to say.
Okay.
Most of the time. But yeah, there was some improv. Yeah, but most was he would just think of something what for us to say. And we did the same thing on the Bear Winch project. Same thing. A lot of improv, and then he would tell us what to say.
Okay.
Oh, we shot that actually on one of the lead actors in the movie at her ranch. It was like an hour and a half in LA.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
I know, it's so funny. And this is another funny story. They were doing construction nearby, so that was very hard. Like, we had to wait till they were not making noise to film.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's a 6-day movie. Okay.
Yeah. And it's a really great.
Without a script.
Yes, Miss London told me about that. That was really surprising to hear. So
I made it all up as I went along.
Yeah, so you would give them like the notes of what like generally you wanted to happen during the scene, and then they would just improv it.
Yes. And
Wow.
if someone screwed up, I said, let's go back and do that again.
Yeah.
And we did it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And it was all coming out of their heads.
Wow.
And that was the whole cool thing about it. There was no script. And it was all just let's make a Bigfoot movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Which I did. And I enjoyed myself no end. Well, it was nice weather, and I was working with girls that are, very sweet. And very competent. People who all you have to do is give them a direction, and they follow it, and they bring their own, attachments to the screen. And that was the kind of cool part. I didn't have to give them lines. They just came up with these things on the spur of the moment.
Yeah. And that was really cool to learn about. Okay, so for any of the movies
I love your questions, Nick. Okay, keep going.
For any of the movies that you're working on, are you in need of any editing help?
No.
Okay. Because there's a running joke in my video that I would love to edit for your movies. I'm
sorry. I have a guy that does it, and he does it well.
He absolutely does.
I don't have to tell him what to do. He just does it. Okay?
Yeah.
So,
by the way, I've done a bunch more movies for Jim, and we're about ready to do one called Catwoman of the Moon, which is it's a remake, but more of a reinvention of the 1950s classic that'll have the, we call it Wynorski vision attached to it. And a lot of the girls from Bigfoot or Bust are going to be in it, and a lot of newcomers, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Wow, that's awesome. That actually leads perfectly to my next question. Do you have any other upcoming projects?
I certainly do. I starred in a movie a few months ago that is now in post-production that I am so proud of. I can't stand it. I can't wait for the world to see it. I think it's going to be an instant classic. It's brilliantly directed, brilliantly written, brilliantly acted. It's with Michelle Bauer and Brink Stevens and Jennifer Moriarty, who also directed and wrote it. And it stars Hennessy Moriarty, who it's Jennifer's daughter, who's still at NYU, and for her big thesis project, I just did another fabulous thing with her, and she directed that. So the first one is called Mary Day and the Scream Queens, and the second one is called Anatomy of a Housewife. And Mary Day and the Scream Queens is this wonderful black it's so hard to describe. It's technically horror genre, but it's a black comedy, and yet a really poignant message about women and their role in life between being young and middle age and older, and like the pressures that they're under, especially beautiful women throughout their journey in life. And it was just a joy to work with those women. It was just amazing. That's Mary Day and the Scream Queens. And then the other one, Anatomy of a Housewife, is this incredible short film based on a dreadful, dark part of history when women were basically given lobotomies at the whim of their husband or their father if they were uppity or, got pregnant out of wedlock, etc., etc. So it's an incredible piece of work that I'm really proud to be in, and that really, that pushed me over my edge, because it was a very, very different girl to play than myself from a 1950s housewife. It was like, wow, okay. So and Mary Day is so incredible too, because it's just so it was such a physical role between learning a ritual dance choreographed by a former professional ballerina, and I can sing and I can act, but I've never considered myself a dancer, so I'm super proud of those movies. They'll be coming out soon. It's called A Man is Dead, and I get to sing and dance like my Luna Dietrich in this one, and that's directed by Gregory Hatanaka, and that's not out yet either, but that should be coming out soon.
That's great.
But I have tons of things on Amazon Prime too. If you just put in my name on Amazon Prime or Tubi, all my movies come up as well. Oh, and I also I'm in a film called The Memory in My Heart that is on everything streaming now too, and that's an unbelievable story of a little girl who starts having these horrible visions and nightmares. She was a heart transplant patient, and it turns out she helps the police solve an unsolved mystery about a murder, because that's the heart she inherited. It's really a beautiful story, and that's out now too.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting.
Thank you so much.
Well, see, I produce my own series for pay-per-view, and also I have a series on Roku it's a Babeflix, Babeflix, and those are my projects that I work on. And also I have programming on Dish Network.
Okay.
But as far as projects coming up, as far as me doing movies, there's one that Jim Wynorski is going to be shooting very soon, called Catwomen of the Moon.
Yes.
And I'm one of the Catwomen.
Oh, awesome.
And that is scripted.
Okay. Did you help produce that one as well, or?
No, I'm not helping produce it. I'm always helping out in some way or other, but I certainly wouldn't call myself a co-producer on that one.
Okay.
So no, this is all Jim's gig,
Oh, awesome. So, do you have any other upcoming projects?
No, he actually wants me to work on he's doing like a cat movie, a Catwoman movie, but I haven't heard anything yet, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with Becky LeBeau, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So do you have any like upcoming projects that you're working on?
Yes, I'm doing I have a movie coming out Tuesday called Dino Gator, which I suggest you go watch.
All right.
And I have I'm doing a remake of a 1950s sci-fi potboiler called Catwomen of the Moon.
Okay. Wow.
And Lisa London will be in it, and a number of the girls that were in Bigfoot or Bust will show up in it as well.
Due to the insanity of this inferno I'm living in Los Angeles right now, I'm asking everyone to please, please, please pray for LA. We need all the prayers in the world.
And just one last question. So where can people find you on social media?
You can find me really easily on Instagram. I'm Lisa London LA. Lisa London LA. That's my handle on Instagram. On Facebook, I have a professional page that's Lisa London Fan, F-A-N, Lisa London Fan. And I'm also on Cameo, and I love doing videos and stuff for my fans on Cameo as well. And you can always look me up on IMDb, because everything, it's basically my website, because they do such a great job of putting all my film clips and everything up there now, so that's pretty cool.
On social media, I have, you can go to Babeflix, and or for me personally, it's fantasy1.com, and that's the name of my company, Fantasy One, and I'm there.
All right.
And then also on Instagram, I'm under Becky LeBeau, and also on social media, they can find me on, I think it's probably BeckyLeBeau.com also. And, that's it.
All right.
I'm on Instagram and Facebook. My name is Antonia Dorian.
And is there any place on social media that people can find you?
Facebook.
Facebook? Okay. Under just
under
your name?
my name.
All right. Awesome.
I can be found under my name on Facebook. And, come say hello.
All right. I'll make sure to leave a link to all of those in the description of my video. All right. Well, thank you for the interview, and thank you so much for your time. I really appreciated this.
You're welcome.
Nice talking to you, and let me know when it's going to be posted.
Yeah, will do. Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for talking to me and having this interview.
Oh, thank you.
I'm happy to do it. I'm sure you'll think of a million questions the moment I say adios. But that's your problem.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
But when you finish your Bigfoot or Bust review, I'd love to see it.
I think the most interesting part of this video is just how many people with little connections to mainstream Hollywood can come together and make these feature-length movies. I think it's really cool that these movies were made in the first place without needing to be funded by some major Hollywood studio. I left a link to all of the interviewees' social media accounts in my description, along with a link to donate to help the people of California during these fires that are going on. I think it's important for people to realize that not everyone in LA is necessarily rich and can afford to lose their houses due to natural disasters, so if you can, it would be nice to donate to help people like Miss London, Miss LeBeau, Miss Dorian, and Mr. Wynorski, because they do seem like really fantastic people. I'm not sure how to end this video. Do all the normal stuff that YouTube people say to do, and this one.
Seriously, new Cartoon Crush unlocked!